shouldn't get reflective, but I'm going to hoot here just for a minute or two. You know, I think at least that our culture has developed some odd notions about the concept of heroism. On the one hand, there are some people who seem determined to find fault or ferret out shortcomings in some of the greatest heroes we've ever known, run around trying to tear them down, which I think is unfortunate. On the other hand, there are folks who might, I think, toss around the term hero too loosely. Apply it to people who may have survived something or endured something, but did not put themselves willingly, knowingly at personal risk. And to me, those are the people for whom that term should be reserved. And we have two of them with us today. Their story is well known. But I ask Lonnie and Robert to tell me again in their own words. And it is really a striking story of two citizens who were thrown by chance into a life-threatening situation and without hesitation, knowingly put themselves at risk and in the process saved a life. And whatever else a hero is, that's it to me. And we created an award for just such people in our administration. It's been given only a handful of times. We're going to give it today because unquestionably it applies to what these two men did. And I want to say to them, as I did a minute ago, I'm proud to live in the same state with people like this. I'm proud to be an employee of people like this. That their families, the parents who raised them, and the spouse who supports Robert. We are honoring you too as we do this. But Indiana values great citizenship and heroism, and we just saw a tremendous example of it in what these two fellows did. And so on behalf of a proud and grateful state, Lonnie, this is for you. Thank you. And Robert, one for you. We probably should do much more, but that's what we're in a position to do, and I hope you know how much it means to everybody. I'm just the spokesperson here for millions of people who admire you and want to say thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sue?
Sir. Well, with 35 years in law enforcement and so much of it on the road and coming across situations such as this, it's such a common thing to see people who are in proximity of this kinds of tragedy to back away and do what is a long, much ingrained into the human psyche, which is to get distance and avoid timing into these kind of perilous situations. And it's a tremendous pleasure to find a couple of folks who have distinguished themselves by going beyond the usual expectation to protect self and to extend themselves to somebody else's safekeeping and to ignore their own safety in the meantime. So on behalf of my agency, we have put together a life-saving award for both of these gentlemen. In essence, it gives a recap of what transpired, just as the governor has mentioned before. But what it really says is that at a moment of significance and peril in somebody's life, you came forward and the world's a better place because you're here and somebody's still alive because of your actions. And we at the Indiana State Police couldn't be more proud. So, Robert? Congratulations. Thank you. Lonnie?
Thank you.
I'm not really much on speaking.
I'm not going to say that.
I do want to say,
Step up there if you want to do it then.
I do want to say thank you to all the police, firemen that do that. I don't know how they do it every day, but once was enough for me. So thank you, and thank my family and everybody for all these awards and stuff. We appreciate everything.
Yeah. Thank you. You have a question for either of them, but they might prefer you don't. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Hold up the award in the blue folder. have given a few of these out. Do you know how many or?
I can find it for you, but it's just a handful, as I can remember certain occasions, but I might miss one or two. But Brad can get that for you.
And did you
Very
create it
few.
at the beginning of your administration?
I'm sorry?
Did you create it at the beginning of your administration?
I think so. I believe the fellow up at Delphi was the first one, wasn't it? And that would have been in 05 or 06. Yeah, we'll get that for you.
Been wonderful if you just tell us a little bit about what it was like back then.
I want you to tell them about backing up, Robert.
About backing up?
Yeah.
You can step up and then tell us about that.
Okay. Well, this is what I remember. I remember going across the bridge. We was on 465. I remember going across the bridge, and I heard something when I crossed the bridge. It was me and my wife, and I looked up in the rearview mirror, and I seen a huge ball of fire behind us. And I told my wife it's something that just blew up. And for some reason, I just jerked the car off to the side, slammed it in reverse, and took off backwards toward it. And kind of came to my sense that I was driving a car backing to a fireball. Wasn't real smart. But I remember I got out of the car and took off running down the interstate. And I remember my wife hollering and telling me it was a semi. It was over the hill. And I remember running down over the hill. I do remember the grass was on fire and stuff, and it was like jumping back and forth. It was almost like something out of a movie. It was really strange. But I never had time to think. I mean, and my wife was right with me the whole time. And that's really about it when we got to the truck.
Tell us what it was like from your perspective.
It was pretty crazy because I was at work and we were at the apartments like right next to the interstate, and that's what I seen, the massive fireball. And I was actually on the second story balcony replacing some wood deck, and I just jumped off and ran to it. I don't know, it was kind of a feeling, something telling me to get over there. Somebody needed help. So I ran over there and seen the truck laying on its side and ran up to it, and there he was. So just helped him get the guy out of there.
I was just going to ask, when did you two see each other? And after that, you just instantly start working together?
To tell you the truth,
He was already working when I ran up to him.
everything seemed like it went blank. Got the driver out of the truck, and actually, I didn't even pay no attention to Lonnie until we turned. And when we turned, Lonnie had the left side of him. And to tell you, like I said, I couldn't even remember. I don't even know what color the truck was.
It was fast. It was
Just
like,
everything clicked.
you know.
Hey, Robert, can you come up to the microphone, please? And what was it physically like being able to get to the driver and to get him out? What was that process like, and the heat? Can you describe what that was like?
Actually, I didn't even know the truck was on fire. I know I run down the hill, and when I got to the driver, I was hollering, telling him that I was there, and looking for a way to get him out. And I looked up and seen the corner of the windshield, and I just grabbed a hold of it and started tearing at the windshield. And it just kept folding over every time I would grab it. It would just fold over into pieces. And then finally, I just got it to where I could get the windshield back out of the way. But as far as the fire, I didn't feel it. I didn't even know it was on fire till I heard my wife holler, "It's on fire." And that's when I realized it was on fire. And that's when I told Mr. Tobias we had to go.
When did you look at each other at the end and say, "I can't believe you just did this"? I know there had to be a moment where you two looked at each other.
No, we actually looked at each other and thanked each other. And
When the ambulance got there, when they were loading him into the ambulance.
yeah, because I remember I walked up to the back of the ambulance and I waved at him, and I told him, I said, "You're going to be all right now, and I'll see you later." And that's when I turned and I seen a camera coming down the hill, and that was my time to leave. That was my time to leave right there.
Either of you had an opportunity to talk to Mr. Tobias since then, or is that the last you see him?
We got to talk to his daughter a little bit on the phone, and we sent him a couple cards, and I haven't talked to him yet at all. Only time I got to talk to him was the night of the accident. I went and seen him at the hospital, And I actually got to talk to him for about 3 or 4 minutes, and they was taking him down for a CAT scan. And I talked to his daughter and his 2 sons and his wife, and then we stood there for a couple minutes and told him, I said, you guys have been through enough, and we went ahead and left. So I haven't talked to him since.
What did they say? He or the family?
Uh,
What did he or the family have to say?
It was really a emotional moment. It was, I thought I was going to be all right until I looked at him, seen him crying, but they was just thanking us a lot. And I remember them taking him out for the CAT scan, and I heard him keep saying thank you, thank you, thank you. But other than that, I haven't talked to him at all. So.
What are your current occupations? Is there any chance of changing now? Have you gone through this? And
Not unless you're offering me a job.
No.
I do construction work.
I also do
remodeling.
construction.
and you're going to stay doing construction?
Yes.
Not going to firefighting or law enforcement?
No.
Leave that to the professionals.
Yeah.
So you guys don't work for the same company to rebuild the apartment complex? You guys
No.
didn't know each other before this?
No.
No, I was driving down the interstate.
That's,
And I was at work.
Were you on 465 or 60? Which
I was on 465. I had just crossed the bridge getting ready to turn on to Benford Boulevard.
Thank you all very, very much for helping us honor these 2 men.